Hey friends, family, followers, and subscribers. It's your favorite man of letters and fellow Winchester brother, Bradford. I'm doing a book review this time, and yes, it is the Wheel of Time. I finished rereading The Shadow Rising a few weeks ago. This was my first reread of this book, and I forgot how much was in it. And so I'm just going to be giving a brief overview of my immediate thoughts on rereading The Shadow Rising, and hopefully this will be spoiler free, so we'll see. But without further ado, let's dive in. So this time around, I'm not going to be doing any character arcs, or analyzing best quotes or best whatever. I'm just going to be giving my general themes of the story. This book is what almost dropped it there. This book is what distinguishes the first three books from being a knockoff of Lord of the Rings to being its truly own series. Because you go from very generic world building. Well, maybe not generic. Generic's probably not the right word. Let me rephrase that and say more so something that seems a little bit cookie cutter for your average fantasy reader. But in The Shadow Rising, Robert Jordan really distinguishes his world from every other world because of the depth of mythology, the unique, nuanced cultures that feel real and fully realized, and what the stakes truly are for the main characters involved. So, for example, you get the full revelations of the Aiel culture in this book. Rand travels to the Waste. Matt travels to the Waste. Egwene travels to the Waste. Moiraine and Lan travel to the Waste. Rand sees the full history of the Aiel and learns who started this whole mess. And it wasn't a good person. That was the biggest thing that stuck out to me this time around. Was I missed who originally caused the Dark One to have influence over the world. And I honestly didn't remember that on my first read through the series. And this time around, I read it. It was I couldn't have missed it. It was an alarm going off. And just to finally have that piece of the puzzle kind of slide into place and see how that person really started this chain of events that caused the series in the first place was really cool. And then also, as you have probably watched in my second part of my Rand al'Thor miniseries, Rand goes from from this boy who's outrunning his destiny to a boy who truly is embracing it to the point of him forgetting why he's doing so. And this book truly starts to distinguish Rand from a generic chosen one. You see his flaws, you see his ambition, you see his ego, you see how he uses people and systems around him intended for good, but see how that can actually lead to a very dark place. But Rand's characters stand out here. Another character who is a standout in this book is Matt Cawthon. Matt, this is another great Matt book. You see him pulling all kinds of shenanigans, having some in-game implications set up for the last battle in The Shadow Rising. Even though the last battle doesn't take place until later on, you get heavy vibes in this book of what's to come. And that's really exciting. Also, this is a book where I think Robert Jordan really started to unveil some of the layers that were piled on in response to him showing us that he wants things to be mysterious, he wants things to be intriguing, and he wants the world he's building to truly be unique. And you see, I'll probably do a video on this at some point, but mystery is the main theme of the Wheel of Time. And that's evident throughout the entire series. This book really emphasizes those themes because there's lots of palace intrigue, there's lots of political intrigue, there's relationship intrigue, and there's certain things that don't really make sense, but also at the same time they do, such as Ridian, the only city of the Aiel. That's, I think, what helps distinguish The Shadow Rising from other books in the high fantasy genre. And it's a long book. This reread, it took me almost 3 months to finish. I was reading other books at the time, but I was also busy. So all in all, I have to rate this book as the best Wheel of Time book. It's not my favorite Wheel of Time book, but it is a damn good book. I'd rate it a 9.4 out of 10. There were some areas of the book where I was just like, Robert Jordan, please pick up the pace. This is going so slow. So like, let's get into this stuff. Let's get this ball rolling. But then other points where action was just snap, 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 snap. Things were happening like you wouldn't believe. And that I love. At the same time, I mean, you really start to see the dynamics turn in this book. And you really start to see some of the fantasy tropes that Robert Jordan wanted to play out and play on and off of each other really start to turn out. He inverts a lot of the tropes that you would typically see in a series in this book. A lot of those have to do with Rand. A lot of those have to do with his hero's journey and some of the subtle differences that happen along the way, which makes this story truly compelling. And it fits into the mythology really well. But other points where you're just like, Robert Jordan, pick up the damn pace. We're tired of traveling places. We just want to see stuff happen. Please. And other points where you're like, Robert Jordan, slow down. Slow down. Give us these character moments. But he writes great action sequences. I stand by that statement. Anyways, I have to give this book a 9.4 out of 10. Just like my Braves this year. They didn't have a perfect season, but we were the World Series champions. So that was really cool. And plus, one of my high school role models, Dansby Swanson, went from somebody who was constantly overlooked in the grand scheme of baseball as a sport to being a hometown hero for so many people. And I'm saying that because I went to high school with him. That's my claim to fame, hopefully. But we'll find out. So thanks for tuning in to my brief thoughts on The Shadow Rising. Hope to see y'all again next time. So peace out.